Hey guys, it's Matthew here from Seeds of Awareness. Welcome to episode 4, I believe it is. Probably should know that for certain, but I'm pretty sure it's 4 of our soul growth series. And this episode is going to be titled Getting Out of Your Head and Into the Body. Now, why would we want to get out of our head and into the body? And why are we stuck in our head? And is that a bad thing? Well, there's a big assumption in our culture that living through the head is the way a human should experience the world, that basically the body is just a meat sack, sort of like a machine, an organic biological machine, whose only purpose is to carry around the almighty and all-powerful and all-knowing head. And we've existed this way for such a long time that it's the only way of experiencing the world we've ever known. And the head excels at intellectualizing things, at analyzing things, at breaking things down into smaller compartments and analyzing those smaller compartments and trying to understand everything. And in more esoteric and spiritual terms, the head is the house of the male aspect of our consciousness. And this has nothing to do with gender. This is for both sexes. The male aspect of our consciousness, its point of awareness resides in the head. Whereas the female aspect of consciousness, the yin of our yin-yang, which is the Taoist symbol that is the symbol for this harmony and balance of masculine and feminine energies that exists all throughout nature, and those energies within ourselves, the female aspect of those energies resides in the body, or more specifically in the gut region, and even more specifically than that, many people locate the specific point of awareness down in the pelvic bowl, right down amongst all those areas that it's kind of interestingly taboo to sort of talk about in our culture. So for so long, we've disconnected from the female aspect of consciousness, which are our feeling centers, which is our intuition, our instincts, our sensitivity, our ability to see the wholeness of everything. So while the head is busy focusing on individual parts, let's say a puzzle, for example, the head would focus on individual pieces, trying to figure out that piece, analyzing it, breaking it down, controlling it. Whereas the female aspect of consciousness is the part of us that sees the holistic nature of the puzzle, the whole puzzle, how all the pieces fit together. And it's the same way for life. So while we're moving through life, while we're experiencing life, our head is analyzing things, it's breaking things down, and that's important. I'm not demonizing this intellect of the head at all. It's important to analyze things. It's important to have excel at reasoning abilities and looking at things from an abstract fashion, which just means to separate yourself from things and be able to analyze them. But we've done that at the cost of disconnecting from our feeling centers, the part of us that feels everything we see. It doesn't just analyze, it feels, and that feeling is translated into a knowing. And there's a man who has really inspired me and guided me in this sort of work, and his name is Philip Shepherd, and he's written a book called New Self, New World a few years ago, and a new book that's just released called Radical Wholeness. Now, in New Self, New World, he documents how around 10,000 years ago in the Neolithic period, humanity experienced the world very differently. We experienced the world with our primary point of awareness being in the body, being in the pelvic bowl, gut region. That's what led our experience. So as we moved through life, we felt our way through life, and the male aspect of consciousness, the head intelligence, was just there to give us guidance. So a practical example could be, I got a really strong impulse today to do a video. I hadn't planned on doing it, but it was a strong feeling, and I've been practicing in my own life responding to those feelings, because the body is tapped into energies and into intelligence that the head can't even grasp. The head will try to analyze these feelings and break it down and figure out whether should I film a video today? Is it logical? Does it fit in my plan? Whereas the body just feels it. So I got a very strong feeling that I needed to do a video today, and a very strong feeling, even much stronger, that I needed to do a video on getting out of the head. So I responded to that feeling, but my head is also very important in this plan because it allows me to figure out how do I do this? Okay, I need to get the camera, I need to make sure it's charged, I need to make sure the SIM card's in there with enough memory, and I need to make sure that the tripod, without boring you, all the logistics. That's what the head absolutely excels at, and it's bloody important. But as a culture, what Philip Shepherd demonstrates is that we used to lead with the feeling. We used to feel our way through everything. And what that does is it gives you a much more deep sensitivity, not only for yourself and a deeper connection with yourself, but a deeper sensitivity and connection with nature, with animals, with plants, how this world moves and flows as a holistic system, how everything is related. Literally everything is related. Like quantum physics has even shown that everything is in relationship with everything else. We're in relationship with the furthest atom at the furthest distance of our universe. There is a connection between literally everything. The head can't grasp that. The head thinks that we're independent from everything, that if we destroy this planet, that somehow humans aren't part of that, what the damage that we're doing. And the head lives in a fantasy world. And so whereas the female aspect of our being, the gut intuition, the feeling centers, feels the holistic nature of everything. It feels what impact it's making on the world, and it responds to the world, and it is anchored in the present moment. It only exists in the present moment. And Philip Shepherd documents how we started shifting out of this belly intelligence and this belly point of awareness, and we started shifting our way. It took us about 10,000 years to move our point of awareness all the way up into the head, where we've now embedded ourselves there so deeply that we've disconnected from our body intelligence, and we let intellect and reason and abstract thinking and analysis govern literally everything we do. And we are not deeply connected in with the body. We try to manage the body. We're like the supervisor, manager up in the head, managing the body, managing our diet, managing our emotions, managing the people around us. Everything is like a management, because that's how the head views the world. So Philip Shepherd explains that we're kind of like an astronaut that's launched off planet Earth. It's grounded home, and it's gone out to space just to kind of explore, but it's got trapped out there. And we've left our home of the pelvic bowl down in the gut, and we've launched ourselves up into the head, and we've basically stayed here for quite a while. And what makes it really challenging to see this is that our culture, because what Shepherd says is our relationship with the body determines how we relate to the world and how we relate to other people. So if we see ourselves as disconnected from the body, and we're the manager and we're the supervisor in the head, then we're going to naturally see ourselves as disconnected from the world, as being independent from the world and trying to control the world. And you see it in the way we teach our children at school. We sit them down and we force them to stifle their body's energy. So as a kid, you've got all this body's energy, which is actually the body's intelligence. That's the body trying to communicate to us. But we are sat down for about 10 hours a day, and we're told to stifle the body's energy, sit still, and we're made to feel ashamed about expressing our bodily energy, and we're conditioned to learn through the head, learn facts and facts and facts, and we're rewarded by repeating these facts. And whoever can learn the most facts and knowledge and repeat the most facts and knowledge the best achieves the best marks in school. And we're conditioned this way from, for 12 years of our life, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day or something like that. It's remarkable. And before we hit school, we're generally conditioned by our family, who have also been conditioned by our Western culture to live primarily in the head. And then we then we go out into this world and everything supports head-centric living. It's even the way our buildings are designed, where or our pyramid structures of our organizations, where the head is at the top, the headmaster or the head of the company or the chief executive officer or the capital of the city. All these words are Latin words for head, and basically this reinforces to us that the head is in control. The head is the master of everything, and our science looks at everything from head-centric perspectives, trying to break everything down, analyze everything. And what Philip Shepherd says is that we think that knowledge is going to save us. However, if knowledge was going to save us and more facts were going to save us, then we would be far more advanced as a society than we were 2,000 years ago, because we've learnt so many things. We've broken down everything in nature to its nth degree and studied and analysed everything to the most minute detail, yet here we are pushing the very ecosystems of this planet that we rely on to the absolute brink of their limits, and thinking that we can somehow keep doing this, thinking that economic growth and just making more money will just solve everything. That's the fantasy that the head lives in, and because we're so stuck in the head, disconnected from the feeling centers, we're disconnected from what we're doing to the planet. And so the thing about living in the head is that the head is a really shitty place to be. It's a really crappy place to live, because when the head is disconnected from the body's intelligence, we're riddled with anxiety, because it's disconnected from the knowing intelligence of the body, and it's trying to understand everything itself, but it can't perceive the holistic nature of everything. So it gets ruled by fears, it gets ruled by anxieties, it tries to control everything. It's disconnected from its emotions, and therefore the body doesn't heal and express itself as it should. And this whole idea that there's a body intelligence isn't just a wishy-washy thing that I'm saying. Like, the latest in neurobiology is proving that we actually have a brain in the gut, and we actually have a brain in the heart. So we aren't just this brain in the head that the body is just carrying around to support the head. We've evolved just so this meat sack of a body carries around the all-important brain in the head. No, we have a brain in the heart. For anyone who wants to look further into that, go to heartmath.org. They've done incredible research on that. And in fact, there's research demonstrating that the heart has more sophisticated neural circuitry than that of the brain, and that there are more neural pathways going from the heart to the brain than there are the other way around. And then it's the same with the gut. We actually have a gut brain, and all our microbiome and all that plays a part in that. So we are actually meant to be this trinity of brains, all working in harmony together, with the logic and reasoning and analysis of the head serving the knowing feelings of and the knowing intelligence of the heart, and the compassion and love of the heart that fuels us, and the knowing instinctive intelligence of the gut. And these are what meant to be leading us as we move our way through life. And many people know this, they sense it, they know that when they trust their gut instincts, it's always right. Yet we don't talk about this as a culture, that this is where we're meant to be led from. It's not just that we use it every now and then. This is where our primary point of awareness is actually meant to be sitting in our body. And it's amazing, because when you come back down into that body intelligence, the calm that comes over you, the joy that you find in each present moment is really, really profound. And it's because the body is surrendered to what is. It doesn't judge. It's beyond judgment. It's beyond fear. It's beyond the illusory construct of time. It's only anchored in the present moment. It's only existing in what is happening right now. This illusory fantasy of time is is created by the head, where the future literally doesn't exist because it hasn't happened, and the past has already happened, so it's not real either. But that's where the head lives, in these abstract realms of time, that aren't even real. So the head is literally living in a fantasy world, whereas the body is in reality. The body is tuned into what is, and this body intelligence, I believe, is no doubt why we're here alive today. Because think about, we're living very much domesticated lives now, where we disconnect ourselves from nature because of our head-centric society. But in the past, we existed out in nature. We were roaming the forest, we were roaming the deserts, we were roaming the jungles. And if you believe that your head alone could keep you alive in those environments, good luck, we wouldn't be here. By the time you'd been busy analysing and fearing about the future and the past, something else has eaten you, or something's happened that's taken your life. So we would have relied on this knowing intelligence that's in our body, and it would have evolved over millions of years of being tuned in. The body is just tuned into the energies around it. It is seeing and feeling things that your head cannot even comprehend, and it communicates those energies and that knowing to you in the form of feeling. So it is speaking to us and it's guiding us, but we've just disconnected from that so deeply. And there are examples of other cultures who still live this way. There's a book called Original Wisdom of this psychologist Robert Wolf, who went and lived with a tribal jungle nomadic tribe who lived in the Malaysian, they were called the Singoi, I believe, and they lived in the Malaysian jungles, and he was just blown away by their knowing intelligence, how they knew things about the jungle and about the universe and about the world that they really shouldn't have known. They didn't read these things in books, they didn't teach them to each other. They don't even grow crops in this tribe because they just know where food is. They know where water is. They know where the deadly snake is and when it's going to be crossing their path. How the fuck do they know? It's remarkable, and there are so many examples of this in the world, but in our West we completely disconnect from this. And they know because they're guided by their bodies, their body intelligence, and we see that all through this throughout nature. I mean, how does a spider know how to build this remarkably complex web based on sacred geometry in the perfect position to catch flies? How does it know how to do that? It just knows. It's just a knowing intelligence. I've never seen a mother spider teaching a baby spider how to do it. They don't go to web engineering school and all these things. It's the same with whales that, pass by where I live every year. They migrate thousands and thousands of kilometers and know exactly where to go down from the tropics down into the Arctic to feed every single year. How do they know that? They're not traveling with GPS. They don't have anything guiding them. They don't have a map of the ocean. They're guided by their knowing body intelligence. And this knowing intelligence that's so evident throughout nature, it also exists within ourselves, but we've deeply disconnected from us. And we may look at this and think, well, this isn't practical. This sounds all great in nature, but how is it practical when I've got money to make and I've got a career to build? Well, it's actually more than practical. It's the most practical thing we can do, because the body isn't just tapped into nature, it's tapped into everything. And there's an example that Philip Shepherd talks about in Radical Wholeness of this. I think it's John Coates, a person who studied body intelligence and instinctive intelligence within stock trading, and he found that the most successful traders in stock markets relied on their gut instincts. Their bodies could see a tremor in the market and could see a subtle change in the market, and they instinctively knew, I need to pull my money out of that right now. No logic, no anything based on that, and they were always right. And this can be in examples in everything in our life. When we follow that body knowing, it never steers us wrong. And the thing is, it's the body's knowing is beyond fear, because in the present moment there's nothing to fear. If something attacked me right now, I would respond to danger, but I wouldn't be fearing it after. It's just like an antelope that's been chased by a tiger and got away. 30 seconds later, the antelope's chewing grass like nothing even happened. It just escaped with its life. And it's because in your body, what's real is only what is in this present moment, and everything else is just a fantasy. And so in terms of coming back into the body, I mean, that'll be a focus of another video, and that's something Philip Shepherd has amazing exercises on, and I'm actually going to his workshop this weekend, which I'm super excited about. But it's not an instant process of this going, okay, I'm going to bring my point of awareness back down in the body and let that guide me. No, it takes time, because one reason we're not in the body is because of all the traumas and the fears and conditioning that lie in the body that are blocking our access, blocking our ability, making the body so uncomfortable to inhabit, that we've learned from such a young age just to dissociate from, disconnect completely. So it takes time to come back into the body. It takes working through our shadow aspects one by one, and that might require therapy, that might require professional guidance. I know for me, I needed professional therapy for a lot of things that were coming up from my childhood that I was really struggling to deal with on my own. But I've found that each part of my shadow and my traumas and my fears that I work through, I drop a little bit deeper down in my body. And what happens is when I come back up in my head, because there's so many things that can trigger us in our Western society, you know, social media addiction. When I'm on my phone too much, I get back in my head. When I'm stressing about, I catch myself when I'm in my head when I'm stressing about money, when I'm stressing about what people might think of me in my videos, when I'm stressing about this and about that. And it is, that's when I know I'm back in my head, and it feels really shithouse. It feels terrible because I can feel the anxiety riddling in my body. So what I'll do is I'll find a calm grounding place and close down my eyes and remove all the noise and just consciously bring my awareness down the body and back down towards the pelvic floor and rest it in the body. And the calm that comes over me, the joy that comes over me, and the vitality that starts filling me up with is really profound. And as we come into the body, we don't view our body as something separate. We start realizing that we are the body, and so we feel everything we do, and it becomes really hard to cause harm to the body, you know. Because when you eat things, for example, like if you're eating something that might be unhealthy, like a chocolate bar or something like that, then you don't just feel the taste in your mouth and the dopamine rush in your head and you're like, this is nice. You feel the impact it has on your body in a holistic sense. You feel every bit of impact it has when you drink, when you do anything. You're not just observing it, you're feeling it resonate in your entire being, and you feel what causes you harm, what brings you into harmony, and you feel what brings you out of harmony, and you naturally just want to align more with anything that's harmonious with the body. So I hope this has made sense. I've certainly been ranting a bit, but I hope it does bring a little bit of clarity and hopefully inspire you to learn how to get out of your head and catch yourself when you're in head, and know that the peace and joy that you're craving can only be found in the present moment, in your body's intelligence, the knowing intelligence that exists within you, that has been passed down from our ancestors, that is this beautiful intelligence that we all have at our disposal to tap into if we want to. So I really hope that you are inspired to connect deeper into your body and feel the world through your body and connect with others and nature on a much, much deeper level. And if there are any questions, please fire away. If there's anything you want me to talk about more around this subject, please put it in the comments section, because I'm always looking for guidance from you guys to know where to sort of take these videos and what's working and what's not. And love to you all, and I'll see you on the next video.